Hi everybody, I hope everybody is doing well and okay. I know it's been a while since people have seen me. I've been doing a lot of self-healing. Right now, I am currently living on the same street where I was abused and traumatized at. Lips are a little, no, I don't like no chapstick. Period. But I wanted to talk about abuse. Just being involved in a domestic violence or a abusive relationship. First of all, I didn't know that when I entered in one it was going to be that. Nobody enters in a relationship that's going to be abusive or domestic or violent or traumatic so willingly. At least I would hope. If you do need to go somewhere else, talk to them. And in my case, I'm not a licensed psychologist or mental health professional. I was entering in a partnership or an attachment with at least for me in my life, a karmic, kind of like a karmic twin flame, like something like that. It was also just malignant, like a malignant narcissist, like a narcissist to the extremity, like borderline, almost psychotic in a sense. We all have narcissistic traits, but when you have amounts of those, levels up, it can indicate your personality, and it creates a personality of not able to detach yourself from another source, and that means that it's a cycle of attachment and detachment. The cycle keeps going, and if you don't know that, you are full-on prey for them. When I entered in a relationship, the person who I was seeing didn't seem like that, but the thing is, when I met him, I was in a very hopeless state. It was a bunch of things that happened before that really affected my state of mind and my perception and my intuition. And my instinct, because when I first met him physically, it felt like I met him like we knew each other before, which was extremely weird for me. It was kind of mutual, like we both felt like we were meant to meet or that we met before. It was an extremely weird feeling and a phenomenon. I don't know if anybody can relate to that. The connection was extremely intense and it was very fast, accelerated. And for me being in a depressive state where I was isolating already, and I was kind of in a state of mind where I was cutting myself off from the world because I didn't want to deal with my emotions. I was repressing them, and I didn't know how to deal with the harsh reality of what was going on and handling it in a healthy manner. I was a victim to a lot of things, but I also volunteered and attributed to a lot of my pain that I was subjected to and that happened to me, because if you do something more than once or twice, 3, 4, 5, 6, it becomes a habit, and you have to address it, like what actions and what choices am I making that's impacting this result. And I had to take accountability for the actions that I partaked in to cause a lot of traumatic things to happen to me and results that caused trauma for me that I'm still dealing with now, scars that I still have. It was very intense, and I had let my guard down right away because this person reflected the love that I was giving, or that he saw in me, or maybe I don't know, but it was the love bombing phase where he was overly complimenting, overly giving, overly doing this, overly doing that, showing perfect, in the illusion of being deceiving and deceptive. For me to put my guard down, months had passed of this, so it was a conditioning. It was all a build up for me. Something switched. Other tangents, boundaries, like setting boundaries, and boundaries is just like limits that can't or should not be crossed when it comes to treatment, or in this case with relationships, or when you're entering anything with two people. There's limits where you shouldn't go, just out of the decency of respect and the courtesy and the consideration of being a person to another person. These lines were being nicked at little by little. I never had conditioning on that growing up. I didn't have how can I say this? I didn't have space based off the conditioning of my generation and my upbringing and my background to be able to voice an opposition without reprimandation, if that makes sense. So I was unaware of me even being able to find it, use it, until after the fact. Because with boundaries, that's just how it's values and morals. It's just how you want to be treated. And those were blurred. He would say little things, and it would be sneaky and deceptive, little sly remarks. His insecurities, his projections, and his reality. If you're projecting anything, it's something that you're either doing, you want to do, or that you have done. You have to project it onto somebody else's reality. That's not the case. You know, it's kind of like a mental warfare. Over time, these little things kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And it was something so much as simple as like, no, you didn't lock your door. Then it goes to like, you're cheating on me, or you're texting other people, or why is he looking at you like that, or why do you have that on? And it becomes a power and control tug of war. You can never be fully in control of anybody else or have control fully over anybody else. You only can control you. Devaluation. And it became like walking around on like invisible landmines. I didn't know where to navigate conversations because it would have led to argument, a disagreement, a projection of his insecurities. And it was like a lose-lose scenario. Like if I didn't say anything back, he would keep going. But if I did, he would then respond based off of my reaction that he ignored all the time. He was a do as I say, not as I do. My way or the highway, even though my highway is made up. It was all of a delusion in his head. If he imagined something to be true, it was true. But if my reality, which was actually what was going on, was stated, that was dismissed, it was invalidated, and it was automatically projected and deflected into something else. It was denial, it was triangulation. The truth is literally a weakness for people who are abusive. Telling him a fact was an insult to his character or his pride and ego, so much that he felt that anything he would do in response to that was justified just because of his feelings or how he was expressing his emotions to me off of his insecurities was nullified. And it's like that idea is insanity. To understand insanity, you have to become insane your damn self. And it's like, I was almost there. After a while, you know, if you have to keep repeating a boundary with somebody and they keep crossing that same boundary, over time, the response to reinforcing your boundary is going to get more. You're going to get more frustrated, hostile, angry, upset, agitated, and you're gonna react and respond in a different way. We're creatures of habit, and we go off of instinct. So, like, after a while, I got tired of having to keep explaining and re-examining and trying to get somebody who should be doing it to me to prove to him, like, oh, I'm not doing this, when I knew I wasn't. But that's because he was. We had got into an altercation and we got physical. And I had an item in my hand and I hit him in the head. And I just hit him because it was so much. He was insulting me, calling me names, and he was emotionally and mentally and verbally abusing me. And he was doing it on purpose to get a response and a reaction. You know, and it was what he wanted me to do to then justify anything that he did after that. Because it was like, in his mind, only what I did in response to what he initiated was the thing that was scrutinized, had a microscope on, or was put into suggested as an initiation for him to do whatever. And he took advantage of that. Like, it was very, it's cynical. Like the way that it's methodically planned out in somebody's head, like a predator that acts like they're the prey, but they're really the predator. And this went on for years. But it's like it was a parasitic bond where I was giving and he was getting everything. That's when it started. Like I'll show you all a picture, but I look at this picture as a reference because it was very symbolic on like what I don't want going forward with any relationship that I'm in, rather it's platonic, romantic, because I wasn't afraid, but I was scared. It was like a 180. Like it was like this person who seemed sweet and nice and like a switch. It was like he was a demon. Like it was like black in his eyes. He multiple attempts on trying to end my life. Even one time he even said like, if I wanted to, I would have done it. You're lucky I didn't. Wish me well or thank me. You know, in a sense, like belittling and making my life feel invalidated, like it was worthless and meaningless. You know, I was held hostage in my apartment for 3+ hours. I was choked. Glasses broke. Things stolen. My vehicle, I had a vehicle that he stole and got it totaled out in another state. And it was still an attachment. It was still an unhealthy attachment that mentally had me trapped in a cycle. And I had to ask myself, Kendall, how much do you love yourself to keep enabling somebody that says they love you, but their actions is saying they fucking hate you and despise you and want you dead? Obviously, I had to really do a reevaluation of my self-worth and who I am, because this person gave no fucks about me. You know, like it was nothing. It was nothing that he was doing for me that was healthy, productive, encouraging, you know, uplift. Nothing. It was all the opposite. It's a potential that I could have been dead like a couple years ago. And it was because I wanted somebody to love me the way that I thought that they was or were alluding to me.